Welcome everyone to another episode of the Camper Report. I'm your host Benjamin Camperman, and today we have a joint stream with me and Rich. How are you guys doing today? Excited to talk 49ers football 1 week away from the Bears versus 49ers, should be. I'm excited for Niners football finally week 1. So how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for hitting me up, allowing me to, or for us to, get this joint stream together. And I've been wanting to do a show with Amin as well. So man, so it's dope, man. I'm doing great. It's a good Saturday. Yeah, man, excited.
Yep, I'm doing great as well. I mean, how could you not be excited? I mean, football's back. Niner football's back in a week. Regular season starting. Hopefully, we get to see 17 weeks of Trey Lance. So, I mean, how can you not be excited? Football's back in a week.
Yeah, totally. It's just can't believe because I can't believe how the time has flown from June to it's just you get done with football and then it's already here. Especially this, I feel like with the content creation you're more connected a lot more, so it feels shorter. Because you're always covering them, and then the off season goes by so fast. So I'm excited that we finally have it. But let's get right into it. The 49ers play the Bears, obviously, as you all know. So, what is at stake for the legacies of Trey Lance and Kyle Shanahan? And I know some people would say, nothing. This is the first game, whatever. But I think there's a lot more. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this because what's at stake for Trey and Kyle in this game for their first game together, their first regular season game? No, their third, I guess, but first as Trey for Trey being the starter. You can start.
I'll be honest, I don't think there's much at stake in this one. I feel like it's their first game together. Kyle Shanahan obviously hasn't had a mobile quarterback. It hasn't had a mobile quarterback at his time with the 49ers. He obviously had Jimmy Garoppolo, and even going back to his Atlanta days, he hasn't had a guy who's mobile, who's athletic, who can extend plays like Trey Lance can. So I don't really think there's much at stake. Now, obviously, do I think the Niners should win this football game against this Bears team that has a lot of holes? I definitely do think so. This Bears team is a rebuilding team. They also have another rookie quarterback, a second-year quarterback in Justin Fields, who's also really talented. But looking at this game in specific, I really don't think there's much at stake. But the Niners definitely do have to come out with a victory in this one.
Yeah, Keltz.
Yeah, I was definitely on that same kind of hype. One game, isn't going to really define who you are and what you do. It made me think about Joe Montana. I believe the first or his second season, I believe the team was 2-14, but I think he played like 15 games, but he started, I believe it was 7 games, and he went 2-5. So I think about Joe Montana, and even I could say Michael Jordan. He had a losing season in his second year. Steph Curry, losing season in his second year. So my first initial thing was there's not too much about it, but on the flip side, if you do start out with a bang, that can quiet a lot of stuff up. And of course, it's week to week. You know what I'm saying? So things can shift. We've seen how things can shift just with one signing of one guy for the whole entire fan base. And when you get a lot of people riled up, man, it can move mountains. So, part of me says, hey, it doesn't matter at all. And then it reminds me of Trey Lance, his first game in college. His first game in college, it was a tone setter. It was like he came out And I made a video about it. He came
Shout
out.
out for putting that clip on Twitter. Actually, I saw that clip yesterday. That was amazing. Like,
Yeah, that clip, because you hear his coaches, and you could see even his coaches got riled up. Like, people were doubting him, and he quieted it really quick. And that could be a major tone setter. And we'll see. We'll every story is different, so we're gonna see how it plays out. So I would say a little bit of both. But I was leaning more toward the side of it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning toward the side of it does, because I think you need to come out and show that you can gel well with your quarterback. You committed to this guy. You have to, you have to. I think Kyle Shanahan's going to set him up earlier on to have some easy situations, some easy throws. But I think you have to show that you pick this guy, that your commitment to him is really that you're committed to him, and that I think it's going to be really important. Again, if they don't beat the Bears, I feel like in this game, uh, there's going to be a lot of uproar, and I feel like, I mean, this is probably probably the second or third easiest team on their schedule. So if you don't beat this team, there's going to be a lot of question marks, a lot of, even though it's only week 1. I mean, what does that say like about the rest of the season? I don't know. I think this is just should be, even if it's a week 1 game, I think it really should be you have to win this game. I think this is actually a really must-win week 1 game, just because of the level of opponent that they're playing.
yeah, you're definitely right on that. I think it definitely is a must-win game. I mean, when you're going up against playing a Bears team, obviously you obviously want to start on the right foot, especially starting your season off. But this Bears team has a lot of holes. This Bears team,
Right.
obviously, we heard about the Roquan Smith news. Who knows if they'll get that contract done? But this Bears offensive line is very bad. This Bears, like the weapons that he's throwing to, Justin Fields doesn't have the greatest weapons. This team is a rebuilding team. Obviously, they have a new GM and new coach. So yeah, I think the Niners definitely have to, come out and start off with the bang. And I think this is a game that they probably will win and that they should win because they're favorite on paper right now. That they're looking like the favorites to win this game. And this Niners season, I mean, we all know it, but this season we have a lot of difficult games. So the Niners, the games like this, like the Bears or Seattle, the Niners have to capitalize on those games because it's not going to get easy because you got teams like Tampa, the Chiefs, the Chargers, Broncos, Rams, the divisional games. Like they
Yeah.
have a lot of tough games. So if the Niners want to make the playoffs, they have to win these games where they're favored on paper and where they're favored to win, like a game like the Chicago Bears or like a game week 2 against the Seahawks. They're favored to win these games. If the Niners want to make the playoffs, they have to win these games that they're favored in.
Yeah. I saw some weird stat. Okay, well, not weird stat. It was when they were making predictions for NFL, and I don't really look at it too much, but two people had the Bears to win, and I'm like, I don't know how anyone at this point can be predicting the Bears to win, but it's just your opinion. It's not mine. But let's move on. What is one weakness that the 49ers have? Obviously, we're getting more into the game, some matchups and whatever, but what is one weakness that the 49ers have? Like, obviously, the Bears, they're not a that good team. The 49ers really should have, they're basically every position, they're better than the Bears. But if you had to pick out a weakness, and obviously the Bears do have a few really good players on the defensive end, especially, if you had to pick out a weakness that the 49ers have, which weakness would the Bears try to exploit?
I,
Keltz, we could just alternate. So now it's Keltz's turn.
all
Yeah.
right. Yeah, man. I was trying to, like you said, man. On paper, first off, any given Sunday, anything can happen. But then at the same time, on paper, it's hard to find any weaknesses that they can, I mean, up and down the lineups. Maybe the one wash that there might be is Justin Fields and Trey Lance. You know what I'm saying? That
Right.
might be because someone the other day was talking about how um, Robert Quinn and Nick Bosa are kind of a wash. And I was sitting there and I was like, hold on a minute. Nick Bosa is going up against a 5th-round rookie,
Yeah.
Braxton Jones. The way I looked at their left tackle was kind of equivalent to Spencer Burford. But I
Right.
mean, if Nick Bosa is going up against Spencer Burford, that's Bosa all day right now in where Spencer Burford is. So that's not a wash, not even close. And then you got Robert Quinn going up against, the silverback. He's going up against Trent Williams. So as I was trying to pick it all apart, I remember last year how I believe Justin Fields ran for over 100 yards. You know what I'm saying? He got sacked, I think 4 times, but he was able to get outside the pocket and make some plays. So I think with that being said, I think they're going to put some focus on Justin Fields. They'll have a spy, and I think that might open up a little bit for the tight ends. I believe his name is Komet
Cole
Yeah.
Komet. Cole Komet.
yeah, Komet. And I don't think they have Jesse James. I'm not sure, but he caught a touchdown versus us last year. So last year, I think their tight ends had like 6, 7 receptions, close to 70 yards, a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I think that could be the one little opening that they have a little success is going to their tight ends, even though we have amazing linebackers. I feel like with them having to pay a little bit more attention to Justin Fields on the run, that could open up for them. So that was the one place that I kind of picked on where they could try to, take advantage of a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a tough one because that Bears team, like I said, this Bears team, it's a rebuilding team. They had, outside of a couple of guys that you could say, you know what, like Roquan Smith, best player on defense, outside of Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn probably is not going to be there and too much longer. He doesn't want to be there. Same thing with Roquan. I don't know if they'll get that extension done. So, I mean, this is a tough one. But if I would have to say one weakness that they might possibly exploit, it might be that offensive line. I mean, this offensive line has a lot of new faces on it. You look at the center with Jake Brendel. You look at the offensive line. You look at left guard with Burford. You look at the right guard position. You look at Aaron Banks. I mean, it's honestly tough to say because this Bears team, like I said, isn't that great right now in its current state. But if I had to say one, I would say that offensive line because there's a lot of unknowns on this offensive line. It's going to be an interesting matchup, and we'll see which team can protect their quarterback better because that Bears offensive line has a lot of new faces on it, and it isn't the best offensive line, obviously. And same thing with the Niners offensive line. But obviously, I'm more comfortable with the Niners offensive line because we have Trent Williams. And then another question mark also is McGlinchey. Is McGlinchey going to be able to go week 1? Because if McGlinchey isn't able to go, who's going to fill in? Justin School got Colton McKivitz. Like, we'll see. But if I had to say one weakness, I would say probably that offensive line. Let's see if the pass rush can get to that offensive line and whose offensive line can protect their quarterback better. Is that the Bears or is that the 49ers?
Yeah. I want to bring up, like building off of what Amin said, I want to bring up a guy on that D line for the Bears, which I think is like we look at Robert Quinn and like he was great, but Travis Gibson, 7 sacks in 9 games starting for the Bears. Really good player. I believe I can look at his, I didn't get his pressures, but really good. And he's going to be going up against Mike McGlinchey. So they're going to have to account for that. I think they're going to do that by rolling Trey Lance out a lot. I think a lot of deep shots are going to be with him rolling out. They're not going to put him in the pocket too much. I think that Bears pass rush is probably one of the more strengths of their team because they have Robert Quinn and then Travis Gibson, who looked really good last year. But I mean, again, the Bears, I believe their run defense 4.4 yards per carry. So not that good. So they have good edge rushers, not that good rush defense.
Yeah, the Bears have talented players. I mean, they're just not there yet as a team to be a contending team. But they have players, right? Like Roquan Smith, you mentioned Robert Quinn, Darnell Mooney, who I apologize for saying the Bears don't have that many great weapons, but Darnell Mooney, that man, he's a stud, and he's probably going to lead the Bears in receiving yards, receptions this year. So far, it's looking like Justin Fields' favorite target and best target out of all the receivers that are on the team right now. But this Bears team has a lot of young, really good players that are young, that have a lot of potential, but they just aren't there yet as a team.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing, go ahead. Do you have anything else to say, Keltz, on that?
No, go ahead, Joe.
Another thing is Roquan Smith, pressure from that second level. I think they're going to bring a lot of blitzes because their cornerbacks are terrible. They were 32nd last year in coverage. They were probably up there with one of the worst coverage when we can get into that later. But I think they need to get to Trey Lance fast. They need to they need to bring pressure fast, otherwise they're going to get burnt. So by doing that, they're going to bring a lot of blitzes, and they're just going to try to get home. So
I have a question for Keltz real quick, if you don't mind me
Yeah.
asking. What jersey or what's jerseys behind you? I see a jersey. I see the Nike swoosh. What jersey you be? What jersey you be sitting on?
That's a River Craycraft, man.
River Craycraft?
and
River
an interesting
Craycraft.
thing is that he is, what is it? You're related to him in some way. It's
Now
crazy.
my son, that's his blood cousin, man. So yeah, man. So
Oh.
and on top of it, it's number 86, and that's my birth year. So I was like, I always kind of wanted to get one, so it was a gift to him. You know, it's kind of he's kind of just left.
You should get Craycraft on the channel, bro. You should get Craycraft on your channel. Sit him down a
Yeah,
little bit.
man.
Sit him down.
He's a private person, bro. You know, he kind of, you know, he kind of sticks to his own, which I can't, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, hey, maybe one day though, hey, I could, you know, I could try to see what's up with it, man, for sure.
Let's get into some of the comments. Grandizer, who's kind of become a norm for a normal person coming in every stream. So shout out to you. And shout out to Payo Time, because he is from Payo Time's channel. And I believe a week from now, I just want to quickly go, Payo Time is having a charity stream on his channel, and that should be a lot of fun. So go subscribe to him. Go check that out. Hi, the Camper Report, Rich and Amin. Hope you're all doing well. Hitting the like button to show support. Thank you so much. 49er Minded coming in here. That's
Get 49er Minded to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yee.
Craycraft.
Yep, Craycraft
of the Dolphins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be for our team. I remember the horrible 2020 year against the Packers when he was our #1 receiver in that COVID. That was terrible.
Dude, that week, what? It was Richie
was the
James, River
worst.
Craycraft. Like, those were the guys we were putting out there.
Hey,
right?
he had
None of
some
those guys are on
shots.
our team anymore.
Yeah, right. And
He had opportunities. I think it was like something in the end zone where it was like I was rooting for him, man. But then it was like, hey, you. Sometimes
I remember that. I remember
It
what you're
was that
talking
end
about.
zone
There was
one.
that one play in the end
Yeah.
zone. I don't know if it was like a pass interference when he
was-
got called out of bounds or something like that. And he was like catching on the side of the end zone. I remember what
sometimes
you're talking
those
about.
are the make or break moments. Sometimes, man.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
And it was like our first drive, our second drive, and I think it was like a thing where he got both feet in, but I'm pretty sure the ball was bobbling as he went to the ground. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Something like that. Yeah.
I can look back. So moving on, what is one area on the Bears defense that the Niners will try to exploit? And Amin can go first on this one. Yeah.
I mean, just making life as difficult for Justin Fields as possible on that Sunday morning. I mean,
Yeah.
Justin Fields, obviously, he's a second-year quarterback. He's young. I think that pass rush is going to dominate that Bears offensive line. I think they're trying to create the most pressure to make Justin Fields uncomfortable, to make Justin Fields get the ball out as quick as possible. I mean, going back to his college days, I mean, that's what you could say for a lot of quarterbacks, but going back to his college days, if Justin Fields didn't have a lot of time, sometimes he would force stuff. Sometimes he would make bad decisions. Northwestern game, he did that a couple of times. So just make it short and simple, I would say probably that the Niners defensive line going after that Bears offensive line and making life miserable for Justin Fields on that Sunday morning.
Keltz.
Yeah, man, there's so many spots to kind of pick from.
There definitely are. I mean, cornerback, there's a lot.
Yeah,
man. So I'm kind of, I guess I could just, kind of just pick the run game, our run game, man. I think we're going to see, I hope, and I think we're going to see an explosive run game, man. That, I've said it in one comment before, like we might see something that we haven't never seen been done before. We've been practicing, and I don't even want to say it too loud, but we've been practicing the triple option since last year. From
the Bears defensive coordinator is going to be watching this stream, and he's like, "See, they're going to run a triple option." Rich just said it. They're going to be prepared for that, Rich. Now they're going to be prepared for that. He's going to see the stream.
Hey, you know what, bro? Hey, I think it probably doesn't even matter. I think it's kind of like even if teams know what's coming. Man, when you have the squad like we got, and you get guys like Trent Williams in motion or whatever it is that Kyle's going to draw up. You get
Yeah.
triple option and you got multiple options, not just Debo. I could imagine that we're going to see Ray McLeod take some jet sweeps. We might see Danny Gray. Maybe you don't want to get Danny Gray hurt, you know what I'm saying, to be that deep threat. So maybe you don't put him in some of those kind of runs, but Jordan Mason was brought here for a reason. It fits his style of play. It fits the Niners. Everything is happening for reasons. We just brought
Yeah.
in 2 more offensive linemen and Blake Hance. We're loading up. We're loading up. I think this is the deepest that the offensive line and defensive line has ever been. Of course, there's question marks, and but as far as how many guys we got in the room, yeah, we're
Yeah.
coming. I think we're coming to play full power football on all levels. Like I see power everywhere, not just it feels like the philosophy is changing a little bit from speed and even though we do got speed, it's like we still do got a few guys who do got speed, but it feels like we're just building for power at all levels. And so I'm gonna go our run game
Yeah.
should look
Yeah.
something special.
This,
Yeah.
thi-
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, so this on Niners offense. I mean, this Niners offense, the identity of this Niners offense won't change. This Niners offense will continue to be a run first team, but I could see some packages where Trey Lance can also be running a little bit. You have, Trey Lance can obviously use his legs. So I mean, that's one thing that I would say that Trey Lance brings to this team that Jimmy didn't. Right outside of he can extend plays and what he could do by throwing that deep ball, but Trey Lance can also run with that ball. So whereas last couple of years, when you're in that run game, it's going to the running back instead of Jimmy Garoppolo on a lot of occasions, except for when we played the Bears where they called him Jimmy Wheels after that. But with Trey Lance, I mean, Trey Lance can also use his legs. He's a threat with his legs as well. So, you know, I go back to Lamar Jackson. When you're in that, you have that option
Yeah.
where some plays you can give it to Lance and he can run with it. Some plays you can hand it off to your running back. And I remember watching that game and being so angry when Lamar Jackson was running all over the Niners because I'm like, what's happening, what they're gonna do, but it's so
Yeah.
difficult to stop because it's so difficult to stop. So I mean, like, it's what's coming, and that's what makes it even more annoying because like I was sitting down, I'm like, dude, they're either giving it to Lamar or Mark Ingram. Like, it's happening, red zone, third and goal or whatever. It's either going to those two. And Lamar took the handoff, and then they would go and try to get Mark Ingram touchdown, or then the Niners defense would try to go after Lamar, and then Mark Ingram would take it. It's such a difficult offense to stop, and what's coming, but it's such a difficult offense to stop. I mean, if the Niners do that this year, this Niners offense has a lot of potential, and if Trey Lance becomes what we think he's going to be, I mean, this Niners offense is
Yeah.
going to be also a dominant offense, and we already know what the Niners defense can do. But imagine having a dominant offense, top 10 defense in the league, which we already have had for the last couple of years, which has been the strength of this team, but then also having a top 10 offense where you have playmakers, great weapons, a quarterback that can extend plays, and then the deep ball. I mean, he also brings the element of the deep ball, and I definitely expect to see some deep shots taken throughout the season. Because we didn't have that, we weren't able to do that with Jimmy Garoppolo.
You make a very good point. And I mean, the Ravens in their best years when they went 14-2, they never really had a really good number one receiver. And everyone's saying, like, well, not everyone, but like a lot of teams will have that number one receiver. You'll have a good receiving core, and teams prioritize it sometimes. I mean, that's not like the NFL bullcrap, basically, is what I'm saying. Like the Ravens ran that system with not really a number one receiver all those years. So I don't think you need, and like the 49ers are going to lean off of that running back game and whatever. But also Kyle Shanahan, if John Harbaugh could run that system, Kyle Shanahan can, I think, easily run it.
And imagine having weapons with that system. Lamar didn't have weapons. His best receiver was like Marquise
Yeah,
Brown and Sammy
exactly.
Watkins. Imagine having Debo and Ayuk when you can run that system like they did. Now I would say Greg Roman's a run first offensive coordinator. He did that with
Right.
Cap, also with the Niners, where Colin Kaepernick would also run a lot. So I think that's just what Greg Roman does on offense, with weapons or not. But Imagine having Kyle Shanahan having weapons and having that option to do that, having the option to run the triple read. I think that's what it's called. I mean, this Niners offense can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Yeah. I
Real
mean,
talk.
another thing I was gonna say is the Bears secondary. I just want to quickly say, so their number one corner is, let's see here. I had it written down. Hold on. Jalen Johnson, top 101.9 like rating when targeted, and he allowed 5 TDs. That's their number one cornerback. And so you think about Ayuk when he goes in that passing game, he's going against the second corner, which is even worse. That's going to be, I expect Ayuk to have a huge game. And then Drake Jackson against their right side. You know, you're going to have Nick Bosa running that offensive line, and then you're going to have Drake Jackson against their right tackle, Larry Borum. So that's going to be that's going to be exciting for sure. Yeah. So let's get into a little bit of the comments here. Summer Sweat, why oh why is Jimmy still a Niner? Doesn't make sense. Well, I think it makes sense.
Here's why Jimmy's still on the Niners. The Niners looked at it from a business standpoint and they said, no team wants Jimmy. No team is willing to trade for Jimmy. We restructured his contract. We'll bring him back as a backup. Now, do I think they should have brought him back as a backup? Would I personally bring him back as a backup? No. No way in hell. But at the same time, the Niners looked at it from a standpoint of he knows the system, he's been on the team before, and he's an insurance policy. And now, instead of paying him $20 million, he's getting paid $6.5 million guaranteed. So you restructured his contract. He knows the system. And if Trey Lance does struggle or hypothetically does get injured, you have a guy that can come in that knows the system and that a lot of people like to say wins football games. So that's the way the Niners looked at it. No team's willing to trade for him. Why not keep Jimmy? He's a great insurance policy to have in case Trey Lance gets injured or gets hurt. So, I mean, that's the way the Niners looked at it, and that's what the Niners ended up doing.
Yeah. I know you're screaming inside, Keltz, because you didn't want him to come back at all. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
There's so many hypothetical negatives. And, initially I was looking at it like, hey, this is not Joe Montana and Steve Young. In today's day with the technology, I just feel like it could be catastrophic. But then I was failing to put everything in perspective. Like when the news happened, I was shocked. I was so shocked.
Me too.
It went beyond being angry. I started laughing, and then I had to like.
I was in PE class. I literally, I left the middle of basketball scrimmage. I leave, and I see the news, and I'm literally walking off the basketball court. We had 5 minutes left. I walk off the basketball court. I'm like losing my mind, holding my head like this. I'm like, this literally can't be happening.
Done.
Yeah,
done.
and I remember talking to one of my friends, right? Like literally like 2 hours before. He's like, what's gonna happen with Jimmy G? And I'm like, he's gonna be gone by tomorrow. Don't worry about it. There's no he ain't coming back. The Niners aren't bringing him back. There's no way. And then, lo and behold, 2 hours later, the Niners like, he's back. He's back. And now Cam Newton, I'm just thinking about Cam Newton in that Arizona game where he's like, I'm back.
And you're just like, he's back, and you laugh in a painful way.
You're just like, oh.
I think I failed to realize though that like I look at Steve Young and Joe Montana, that's always one of the biggest comparisons. And both of those guys had fire and wanted to be the number one. There was no, hey, well, I'll just chill back. And I started, so once I really started thinking about Trey's personality, Jimmy's personality, the 49ers, when I really started to just take my feelings out of it and not look at it on the hypothetical worst situations. I was like, hey man, if there are two guys that could do this thing, it probably is those two guys. I mean, Jimmy seems like he's one of those kind of guys that'll kind of chill and just be like, hey man, like I ain't coming here to bring no drama, hey, I'm Jimmy G, man. I can smile and everything is good, And then Trey Lance has been, I think people fail to realize that Trey Lance has been through a lot of stuff in his short career. I mean, his dad had to tell him to put his hand up to be the second string quarterback in high school.
That documentary was phenomenal.
So
That
he
documentary
went.
on NBC is just
So Trey Lance went from, he's had the game taken away from him in COVID. He's went from, not even sure if he wanted to play quarterback to being basically the star. Then he went from nobody wanted him whatsoever as a quarterback to quickly being the star again. And then from being the star to getting the game taken away. And then, he comes to the Niners, kind of gets it taken away again, having to sit and learn. So he's been through the ups and downs, and I just feel like he is built for this. He's built for the noise. He's on solid foundation, just his whole upbringing, his character. He's a natural born leader. And I feel like Jimmy is cool with playing the backup role and, to be a good cheerleader and be a good mentor. He's already proved that. They both proved it last year that they could make it work. But this year, it just feels right with Trey Lance being quarterback one, Jimmy being the insurance policy, as it should be, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I went through my kind of process of being super mad, super in shock, and then all for it very quickly, you know what I'm saying? Some people it probably takes a while. They'll be mad for a couple weeks or whatever, but I get over it real quick.
And Trey, you mentioned it. Like, I mean, Trey has been doubted his whole entire life, from playing high school quarterback and then not getting selected to the Elite 11 to no college team wanting him, no D1 team wanting him. He wanted to go to Minnesota. They didn't want him. No D1 offer, no D1
Yeah.
school offered him a scholarship to play quarterback. They all offered him safety or linebacker, whatever it might be, but not quarterback. And then lo and behold, he goes to NDSU and he throws for 40 touchdowns, no interceptions, and balls out at NDSU. Right.
Yeah.
So Trey Lance has been in this situation before where he's been doubted. He knows that he has to prove something to his fans, to the fans of the new team, like he did in NDSU. Like hopefully we think he'll do with the 49ers, but he's been in this situation before. He's a natural at it. He knows what he has to do. He knows he has to prove himself. He's been in this situation before. And I mean, all Trey Lance has done so far when he's been in that situation is he's proven all the doubters wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Title
Every
Rob says,
single
"Oh, go
time.
ahead. Go ahead."
Like Amin said, he's proved them wrong. It's like, why would you ever want to try to bet against this guy? Because he is, like Amin said, he's proved it wrong. He's proved them wrong every single step of the way. And man, I just have flashbacks of what happened when he was first in college and just that first bomb. And just, I feel like it's going to happen again, but we'll see.
Yeah. Title Rob says, "Keltz, what up?"
Yeah.
Shout out to the panel and chat. Yes, shout out, guys. Yeah, I'm very impressed because I'm like all of us, or at least me, at least I'm thinking like starting to have a lot more of a people that come in every week and support. So thank you for all the support, everyone, and obviously you guys all have that with your channels. So it's great to see.
Yeah,
Um,
if you guys are in the chat, if you guys haven't, man, show some love to my man Camper, Benjamin Camper,
Get him,
man.
get him to 200 subscribers. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
the link, I should have
subscribe to
posted
his
it.
channel.
I should have
no,
posted it.
yeah,
So hey, leave my channel, go hop over to Camperman, go show some love. It's all Niner love,
Yeah,
so that's my big purpose for even wanting to do the joint streams is everybody eat. Everybody gets to eat. Everybody gets that love, that appreciation. We put in work when we do this stuff. It's not so when we get those thumbs up and
yeah.
those subs and all that stuff, it makes us feel a little good, man. You know what I'm saying? So go show some love. He's a great dude. And what's up to all y'all if you haven't been
Yeah.
recognized.
Yeah, same here. I mean, great channel. I think the last show you did was with 49 Carat, Stephanie
yeah,
from.
Steph Sanchez. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's see. I got a bet with my lady on this Bear game. Winner gets a jersey. Unfortunately, she's a Bear fan.
That's
Yeah, that's not.
I mean, it's too early to say, but I feel like that's kind of a win for you,
Yeah,
man. Like,
I mean, that's a win.
I would already be looking at NFLshop.com, looking
That's a
for
win-lose
sizes, looking at
situation.
jerseys. I would already be scrolling through that a week before the game happens, because most likely I would be confident if I took that bet. I would be really confident. I'd be real confident if I was in
Yeah.
that position.
Hey,
Jimmy
hey,
could. Oh,
hey,
go ahead.
hang in there, Tile Rob, man. You could get her to come to the light. It takes perseverance, but maybe this will be the beginning of it, my man.
Yeah. Jimmy could still be traded. We've talked about this. 49ers did not want to let him go and get nothing for it. Now he's back on the trade table, and we could possibly get someone else for him. Yeah, trade deadline for sure. Bryant Culp, what else? What up,
Shout
Faithful?
out to Bryant. Appreciate you for tuning in. Brian always is a loyal supporter of my channel. Major shout out to him.
Yeah,
Supports a lot of Niners channels. Rob Shoe, a lot of Niners channels. So thank you for tuning in, Brian. Major shout out to
yeah,
you.
yeah, for sure. Do the 49ers still have a fullback position? You know who it is. It's Kyle Juszczyk.
I think the Niners are the only one, the
Yeah.
only one that really utilizes the fullback position. Because I
Yeah,
mean,
if you
not a
guys
lot of
don't know
teams.
Rez, I call him Rez, but Rez is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. Man, he caught wind of my channel last year in the playoffs, so he's a great dude. But I'm still hoping our Niners get to face your Buccaneers and we get to see Tom Brady, or we're actually gonna face
We
him this
are.
year. But
My
hopefully,
one of my
we see him again in the playoffs,
Yeah.
and then we might not be the best of
I
friends,
don't know about
Rez.
that, Keltz. I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to see the Buccaneers in the playoffs because what they have realized is not to bet against Brady in the playoffs. Just majority of the time, it doesn't end up well for you. But you know what? We'll see. But
Hey,
one of my teachers is a Buccaneers fan. So if the Bucks and the Niners do make it to the playoffs and they play in the playoffs, I mean that'll be an interesting week.
Hey,
Um,
but imagine if Trey Lance gets past Tom Brady, then there would be no questions. None.
silence all the haters.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, shout out to Payo Time. We were just talking about you. Go support his charity stream. Week 1 Rams. It's going to be an 8-hour stream. That should be a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Pay.
Great Rams content
I love
creator.
his stuff. I love his stuff on the NFC West network. A
Yes.
very knowledgeable Rams fan. Always tune into that. So definitely
Yes.
amazing stuff on the NFC West network. Love hearing you, Squabo, CG, on the NFC West network. Go check that out also. NFC West network.
We
Yeah.
don't got no love for the Rams, but we do got love for you, Payo Time.
Yes. Yes. Totally. Totally. So let's move on. How long of a leash will Trey have this season for you guys? How long do you think it'll be? I mean, how many mistakes does he have to make for us to ride with him?
I just made this
Barring
up right
injury.
now. In my head, I just made up that there is no leash.
Yeah.
There is not going to be no time because look, I already believe that the organization already knows there's going to be hiccups, right?
Right.
So like even if someone does come up to Kyle kind of like last year, I guess there was some rumblings about how some of the leadership went to the organization and was like, "Hey, man, we can't do this back and forth." Like, and that's when we started seeing Trey Lance not coming into games no more. So I think it's going to be the same thing in an opposite way this year, where it's going to be like, "Hey, it's Trey's team, no matter what, even through the hard times." The only thing that's gonna the only time there's gonna be a leash is when it's injury, and that's still not a leash. I just feel like the leash only exists to some of us fans. And it's fun to talk about. It's fun to do the hypotheticals on, oh my God, if this happens in this amount of weeks, if he loses this amount of games, I don't think I don't think it's gonna happen, man. I could be dead wrong, but I feel like it's just Trey's team. The whole team knows it. And even if it gets ugly, I feel like it's still gonna go that direction. That's just what I feel. Could be wrong, but yeah, man, that's how I feel about it. No leash.
When you're talking about the fans, I'll be
Uh-oh.
honest. The Niners fans are some of the most impatient fans
Yeah.
in the
For
NFL.
sure.
So if Trey Lance struggles, there's a small margin for them. There's a very small margin from a fan's perspective, right? Because
Oh
the
yeah.
fans, there's high expectations, and not even just the fans, the national media. There's a small
Yeah.
issue in the national media, right? Because if you watch a lot of the news outlets like ESPN, Fox, guys like Colin Coward and people like that say Jimmy wins, Jimmy does that, da 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 da, Jimmy's this. What if Trey Lance struggles? What if the Niners don't beat the Bears? What if the Niners lose to the Rams? What if the Niners go 1-3 the first 4 weeks of the season? He doesn't have that much of a leash when you're looking at or he's on thin ice when you're looking at from the fans' perspective and when you're looking at from the national media's perspective, especially considering now that Jimmy Garoppolo's back. Because if Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't on this team, no matter what would happen, you would have to roll with the punches because you're not putting Nate Sudfeld or Brock Purdy over Trey Lance, who's your first round pick. But now that Jimmy Garoppolo is still on this roster, the leash becomes even shorter because if Trey Lance does struggle, the fans could be chanting Jimmy's name. The national media will be like, was it a mistake drafting Trey Lance? Is Trey Lance a bust? They should play Jimmy. Jimmy wins. There's a short leash when you're looking at the fans and the national media, especially now that Jimmy Garoppolo's still on this roster. But when you're looking at from like the team, I think the team understands Trey's a rookie. He's gonna have his ups and downs. And shout out to Jason Aponte, who gave this amazing example. He went back to the Texans game. He said there'll be throws like he made to Juice where he was rolling to his right, or I think it was like a design rollout, and he hits Juice. Beautiful ball. And you're like, wow, that's amazing. But then there'll be throws also where like that pass to Ayuk where he missed it so badly and like it hit the ground. And you're like, what was that? Question. And you're like scratching your head going like, what was that? What was that throw? Right? So there's going to be ups and downs. Trey Lance is going to make some spectacular plays. Trey Lance is also going to have plays where he'll make his mistakes because he's a rookie. He's not a rookie, but he's a second-year quarterback who hasn't had that much game experience, neither in college nor in the NFL, because he's only played 2 games in the NFL, and then he's only played 1 full year in college. So how long of a leash will Trey Lance have this season? Not too much. And I think he's on thin ice, especially with the fans and the national media, especially because Jimmy Garoppolo's still on this roster.
Hey,
Yeah.
I think there's already going to be a large group of fans screaming Jimmy's name just for the rise of it. Even if we win the first 2, I bet there's going to be a good group still
Listen,
screaming
if
his
we
name.
win the first 2, here's what's gonna happen. He beat the Bears and the Seahawks. It doesn't matter. Like it literally, it doesn't matter, right?
There's going to be a group always. There's always going to be that group that's going to be screaming for Jimmy. And then at the same time, if we go 1-3, that's a 49er problem. That's probably not just a Trey Lance problem. There's going to be the whole organization's going to have to look in the mirror. If we go 1-3, then because they've already said, hey, we're not going to put this all on Trey. We're going to use the run game. We're going to use the man. I don't even want to say 1-3. It's like, man, there's no way we should, but hey, we never know in this league. And at the same time, yeah, we're going to get the outside noise, man, right above the locker room, at the 49ers. It says be humble, ignore the noise, protect the team. And I think they take it to heart. And then Kyle Shanahan, imagine if Kyle does ever at any point go to Jimmy Garoppolo when Trey Lance is healthy. That's kind of like, bro, you're on the hot seat. You're probably going to get fired after that season. You trade all those picks and those assets and just a second guess, and it's like, yeah, nah, it will be over with if he picks Jimmy, no matter how much Trey struggles.
Yeah.
It'll be done.
I mean, my thing is figure it out, Kyle. Like you invested so much into this guy, like you said. I think like you're gonna like Amin said, you're gonna have you guys took the words right out of my mouth. You're gonna have a lot of growing pains. Well, not a lot, but you're gonna have times where it's gonna be a little bit rough. But then again, you have to look at Jimmy Garoppolo. He also had games where he was really bad, and I mean, I think this schedule is also harder. So if we come out struggling or halfway through, we're not as good because the schedule just, I mean, we have the Chargers, the Rams, just a lot of good teams the first few weeks or first 8 weeks. So the numbers will probably be deflated or like the numbers will look a little bit deceiving, but we've been playing harder teams. I think our strength of schedule is it's better. It's a higher strength than it's been, I think, in a few years. So
and I'll be honest,
to put it into context.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. A lot of the fans won't care if we beat the Bears and Seahawks, right? It's great to start off 2-0. It's great, right? But the real test for a lot of fans in the media is
Rams
3, against the Broncos or against the
October
Chargers
3rd.
or against the Chiefs, right? Like, or against Tampa Bay, right? That's where everybody be like, oh, is Trey Lance the real deal or is he just okay, right? Because the Bears and the Seahawks, we know it, right? They aren't the greatest of teams, right? So if I go and ask someone, what do you think about Trey Lance, and he's 2-0, that doesn't like Trey Lance as much, I'll be like, oh, he just beat the Bears and the Seahawks. It doesn't really matter, right? But then if he goes and beats Tom Brady, or he goes and
Right.
outduels Kansas City and beats the Chiefs, like, I mean, and the Niners team beats the Chiefs with Trey Lance in their center, then people would be like, oh, he beat the Chiefs. That's a really good team.
Yeah.
Trey Lance is that guy.
Right. Right.
Or
Good
or
point.
then, hey, nowadays it might even turn into, yeah, that was regular season. What can he do in the playoffs? So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
always gonna be the haters, man. They're always gonna be there, but it's
Yeah.
is what it is.
Quick shout out though to Peo. Well, not we already like shout out to him, but shout out to Rich Keltz for making the thumbnail. That was not me. That was you. So shout out to you. Peo likes it.
That was when I saw that, I was like, yo.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, look at the elite designing skills. Elite Keltz is an elite thumbnail maker.
Yeah.
It took a minute, man. Everything is self-taught, self-learned. I do it on my phone, man. I use 2 little free applications, and it's more just, kind of a process of just layering stuff. And it's hilarious. I go back to some of my first stuff. I love to look at some of my first stuff and, watch it all kind of grow and evolve. So it's fun learning all this kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, it's yeah.
it's fun. And then, I really don't gotta go anywhere to get hooked up. If it's like I can help out if I can, with that kind of knowledge. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you, Pale, for sure, man.
And I
I
remember actually, wait, before you said that, I
Yeah.
remember like a couple of days ago, I remember watching me and you our first stream together, Ben. I mean, our
It's crazy,
voices
man.
completely changed. Like now we are much older. Like, I mean, going back and seeing that, I was like, dang, we came a long way from like where we were a year and a half ago, to like where we are now. Like, I mean, we've come a long way. And I remember hearing my old voice like from a year ago. I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, I sounded like a kid. I'm like, whoa. In a
Yeah.
year that much changed?
Yeah. So okay, quick question for you, Amin, before we move on. How did you get my email in the first place all like a year and a half ago? Because I don't know how you get. Was it from Grant?
It was from Grant. So I was like, I wanted to do a show. I saw you on
Yeah.
the cone phone before, and I was like, all right, this is a kid who's doing it my age. I've heard him talk. He knows what he's talking about. So I hit up Grant because I was like, I want to like get into this a little bit. I enjoy it. So I was like, do you know his email? Because I remember you saying something about like, oh, how do I email you? What's your
Yeah.
email? Whatever
Yeah.
like that. So I was like, let me hit him up because like I don't really like. She like being new in the game. I was like, I don't really know any adults or anybody that would be willing to do it with me. But I was like, someone my age, I was more comfortable. So I was like, why not hit up Ben? So Grant gave me your email. I was like, all right, let me hit up Ben and see if he wants to do this. And then Not Your Average Sports Kid also came in after a while. But I
Yeah.
mean that I got that email. I got that email from Grant. Shout out to Grant. But I mean, we've come a long way since what we were a year ago.
Yeah. 49ers play the Raiders, definitely. 49ers play the Raiders in Las Vegas. That should be exciting. I heard that the tickets, the cheapest, were 500 because it's New Year's and it's in Las Vegas. That is freaking insane. I don't know
Allegiant
how.
Stadium is literally so nice. It is.
Yeah.
I went to Vegas in the summer. Outside of my window, you open the curtain. Allegiant Stadium was there. It was so nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Were you gonna say something, Keltz?
No, that's pretty much it.
I just wanted to say what's up to Mac in the comments. I'm pretty sure that's my son, so I just wanted to say what's up, boy. I love you.
Is that the same one
Uh,
that you did the stream with a couple of
yeah,
weeks ago?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just
Who?
wanted to say
Wait,
what's
is
up
it
to him real quick.
McNew? Is it McNew?
It's Mac 06.
Oh,
Yeah, well, yeah, I remember watching that show. He's
pull
like,
him up.
Jimmy Garoppolo. What do you think about Jimmy Garoppolo? He's like, Jimmy Garoppolo's a bozo.
Why do you?
Instantly,
Yeah.
instantly.
Yeah, yeah. So let's move on. One matchup to look for. What is one matchup that gets you guys excited? I know we've kind of run through this again, but if there's anything else you guys want to say on this, what is it? Keltz, you can start for, or I mean, whatever.
If you want to go first, you can, Keltz.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's so many little. I mean, Mooney. I believe Mooney is what 5'10", 175 pounds. So
Yeah.
I see him getting bounced around. I could see Womack matching up against him. on several plays. So I'm excited to see Mooney versus
We
Womack.
got we got a lot of Rams fans in here. Like someone just said, "Go Rams." We got you Rams
Yeah.
YouTuber. We got a lot of Rams
It's
fans.
good.
We've got Go ahead.
It's all good, man. They know who the real champs are. But congratulations to y'all. You
Yeah.
know, I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave
Yeah.
y'all alone today.
No,
Maybe.
don't make me
We have
emotional, Keltz. Don't
we
make
have
me emotional.
Grandizer,
You know,
who's always pretty funny. Mess with the Rams, you get the horns. Payo time. Um, dang, yeah, a lot. Anyways, go ahead, Keltz.
man, we got a solid. I'm pretty sure we might. Hey, I'll say it with my chest. We got a new dynasty starting, y'all. So hopefully we have a great rivalry with the Rams. October 3rd, I'm pretty sure is the first game. I can't freaking wait. I'm glad Donald came out and said there's no love. Jamie Ward or whoever it was basically said no love back. And I love to see that heart, that passion,
Yeah.
that fire in football. Like that's what the heck I'm talking about, man. Because when I played, it was with that same fire and passion. I never made it to college or anything, but I want to play right now, just even talking about it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times I'm more chill, but I can't wait. But I'll get on the hype of the Bears. I'm looking forward to seeing Robert Quinn versus
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams. Robert Quinn didn't really do anything last year, but so I'm excited to see if he's gonna try to, step his game up and see if, he could do something. And then man, they got a lot of young corners. Like they got a lot of young corners. We're gonna see, Jaquan Brisker's a rookie. Kyle Gordon, I believe his name is. He's a
Tyler.
rookie. So
Yeah.
we're gonna see some rookies matched up with our receivers. We're gonna see Mooney probably versus Womack. Trey Lance, not versus Justin Fields, but of course there's some ties there. So there's a lot of little ties throughout this whole game. I think Mooney even said something about how I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but saying something about how maybe Fields was bitter about not being picked or something along those lines. So
Ooh, yeah.
so it's gonna be, I'm trying to look at some stuff I wrote down. I mean, they got a rookie head coach, Matt Eberflus. So, it's gonna be tough sledding for them. They're basically rebuilding, got a lot of young dudes. So it's gonna, on paper, it's looking like, we could have a very similar outcome to last time we played them, and I looked at it like it could be a 34-21 type of game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna go with not necessarily a specific matchup like a wide receiver against a DB or something like that, but I'll go with the quarterbacks. I'm excited to see the matchup of Justin Fields going up against Trey Lance, right? Mac Jones and Trey Lance Mac Jones was the main guy that was thrown around with the Niners, but there was some article that came out a couple of days ago how Justin Fields wants to make the 49ers pay for not choosing him. And just seeing both those guys that are second year quarterbacks, both of those guys that have tremendous talent, who had arguably the highest potential coming out of the draft after pick 2 was Justin Fields and Trey Lance. I'm excited to see the matchup. I just am. I mean, seeing both quarterbacks, young guys. I mean, who'll come out on top? Who'll play better? I mean, it'll be interesting to see, right? Anytime you have young guys, rookies, especially quarterbacks, and one that's on your team going up against another guy who's also really talented, who's similar, right? Who's mobile. Justin Fields also is really mobile, can extend plays, has a hell of an arm. I'm excited for that matchup. I mean, just the quarterbacks, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna go Mike McGlinchey and who I said before, Trevis Gibson. I think look for them to line up Robert Quinn on the other side as well. I think that's the only worry I have about this game is those two defensive ends are really pretty good. And so how is Mike McGlinchey going to hold up against those two really good defensive ends? And I mean, I think a lot of the 49ers passes will be short. And then a lot of the long passes will be on rollouts, like I said before. So I think I think the 49ers are obviously going to minimize that. Another guy that I really want to see, Roquan Smith versus George Kittle. That should be fun. Little beefy, right? Like not rivalry, but beefy matchup right there. So yeah, the run game should be exciting with George Kittle and then Roquan Smith battling out. Yeah, it's going to be fun for sure.
Another thing I did want to mention, I believe that was one of Elijah Mitchell's best games last year, where I think he had
Yeah.
40 yards or something like that. And then you mix in the 3-yard pass that Jimmy Garoppolo threw to Debo and he took it for 80. You could almost consider those rushing yards. I mean, if you really break it all down, we had a monster game running the ball. And yeah, man, it's gonna be exciting. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Tile Rob, I got the and in advance, sorry to anyone who I missed your comment. A lot more coming in than usual, which is great. Keep commenting. Love the comments. Love the different opinions. So, but sorry if I missed your guys' comments. I got the 49ers losing 5 games in regular season. Yeah, wow, that's kind of generous. That's kind of wow, okay. What's up? David McNew coming in. And then I'm excited to see Trey Lance get the opportunity to play a full game and get in a groove. Yes, that is going to be. Trey Lance will have a long leash. Jimmy had his chance. Very good point.
Bang bang.
Yeah. So let's get to. We'll keep getting through these topics. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, how much do the 49ers have to win by for us to feel comfortable in this game? I mean, you can start.
Obviously, you'd feel comfortable if the Niners blew the Bears out, right? But just historically, Kyle Shanahan's offense, week 1 and just early on in the season, it takes the offense time to pick up. It just does, right? And even going back to last season, right? That Niners destroyed the Lions defense, and then the Lions almost made a last-second comeback. But just going back, I mean, that Niners offense nearing the end of the season, from like week 7 to the end, that Niners offense was just way better than it was in the beginning of the season. And I think just looking at now having a new quarterback, I think it'll take some time for the Niners and Kyle Shanahan to gel a little bit. I don't think it's going to be natural right away. I think it'll be a learning process for both these guys, and Trey Lance obviously coming into the NFL, and then also Shanahan having to scheme up for a guy that can do a lot and that obviously is an athletically gifted quarterback. But obviously it would be nice for the Niners to blow them out, and I would feel comfortable if the Niners did blow them out, because this is a very young Bears team that's a rebuilding team that has a lot of holes. So obviously I would feel comfortable if the Niners. I would feel comfortable personally if the Niners blew out the Bears. But either way, all I want is a dub. Like I could care less if it's a dominant win. I would feel definitely more comfortable if it was a dominant win, because then I would be more confident going into the week after that, and then going and playing Denver, because I would see, okay, this Niners offense, the Niners offense is a little bit more ready than I would say if it was just a close game. But overall, a win is a win. If the Niners do get a win, I'll be satisfied.
Absolutely, man. I completely agree with majority of what you said. And then at the same time, just getting the win. But then I feel like even more so, I feel like if we see Trey Lance hitting those short passes, if we see Trey Lance not getting passes batted down, I feel like those are the kind of little things where people will be more comfortable with. Like, I guess it kind of pertains to the question, but I'm that kind of guy. Like, I'd rather see my team execute and fight hard and lose a game like to a better team than kind of shoot themselves in the foot and
Yeah.
still get a kind of gimme type of win. As long as
Yeah.
my team is like efficient and fighting and they did their best, and we see Trey Lance hitting those short passes, maybe on some plays if he needs to put a little bit of touch, timing, whatever it is, I want to see those little things. I just want to see as long as I don't see a gang of penalties and just mistakes, throwing it perfectly to the middle linebacker, things like that. So and then at the same time, to look at it from a big picture, I think this could really be the season where we see the best of Kyle Shanahan. I think we might see it early. I feel like it's kind of reminiscent to what Trey Lance did in college. Like, and I know this is the NFL. I'm not like kind of blinded by the reality of the NFL being a different animal and a different breed. But I think this could be the year, man, where we see a lot of fireworks. We see Trey start fast. We see Shanahan, you know, finally put together that kind of like Atlanta Falcons type offense,
Right.
number wise. It's obviously going to be a different dynamic with the run game and whatnot, but I think we're going to see something special, y'all, to say the least.
Yep. And that's why I love the Detroit Lions. I mean, I thought Robert Saleh would have that impact on the Jets, and I think he is doing a great job with the Jets so far. But I mean, Dan Campbell, like I'll be honest, I haven't seen Hard Knocks. I haven't seen any episodes of Hard Knocks. But just seeing like some of the clips and seeing what Dan Campbell did last year with that Detroit Lions team, no matter even if you lost that game,
Yeah.
if I was a Detroit Lions fan, at least I could walk off saying my team gave it their all every single week, whether we lost or won. And a lot of those games they lost, but that team gave it their all. You could tell they fought and they wanted to win that game and they fought their tails off to try to go out and get a victory, right? Going like that Ravens game, you lost by a 68-yard field goal, right? But you put them in a tough situation. You gave it your all, right?
Yep.
And I mean, I'm happy they beat the Cardinals, they beat the Vikings late. Like I mean, but that Detroit Lions team with Dan Campbell's creating there, just that fighting spirit to give it your all, you know, never settle for anything less. Give it your all. Put everything out there. Put just what Dan Campbell's bringing in Detroit and just building the culture around in Detroit. I mean, Dan Campbell's doing a phenomenal job. And if this Detroit team can just have a couple more pieces, add a couple of more, a good receiver there, just add some superstars and build that roster more and more. I mean, if I was a Detroit fan, I think the owners did a great job in hiring Dan Campbell as the head coach.
I agree with that. I think like in this game, I think obviously I want to see him come out firing. I think last year was earlier on, like that was the perfect example of what you say. It was gimme wins against teams that made a ton of mistakes themselves. So come out firing with the offense. Don't come out slow like you did last year. Don't come out predictable like you did last year. It was almost like Kyle Shanahan last year, like wiping off the cobwebs in his brain. And then finally, halfway through the season, it's gone. So don't come out like that. I feel like 30 points, I would not be surprised if we get 30 points. I think their defense, it has the Chicago Bears defense is okay, but it has the secondary is terrible. So if we can just contain that defensive line, we're going to get a lot of big plays out of Debo, Ayuk especially, Kittle. So yeah, 30 points, I would not be surprised. Defensively, I think we hold them to under 20. I don't think that offense is going to be able to do much. I think Justin Fields is going to be under a lot of pressure. And I mean, maybe look for them to take some shots downfield when he has time, but I don't know how much Matt Eberflus is going to be able to doctor up plays for Justin Fields when the offensive line is so bad. I mean, the left tackle is Riley Reef, and he's old, and he's going to get destroyed. So, yeah,
I'll say this: don't sleep on the Bears though, because I mean, not necessarily the Bears' offense as a whole, but Justin Fields, what the Niners defense didn't have the easiest time with Justin Fields,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So like, and I mean that's with every mobile quarterback, right? With the Niners, like again, when you go up against Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson or like, right, it's harder for the 49ers, right? The Niners defense still does a pretty darn good job because the Niners defense is just amazing and super talented, but they definitely have a harder time going up against mobile quarterbacks compared to if they're going up against Jared Goff or a non-mobile quarterback or a pocket passer. They definitely have a more difficult time going up against a quarterback similar to Justin Fields or Kyler Murray.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
these guys are super talented. At Kyler Murray, at Justin Fields, and it reminds me of basketball. Like you're never going to completely just shut them down. They're going to get their 20 or 30 points. Like even if it is in a loss, they're going to get theirs. Unless you're just the greatest defense of all time that just shuts everybody down. But that they're going to get theirs for sure. So that was one of my biggest reasons why I was saying I could see Justin Fields hitting the tight ends, more than a few times. And then, I think he probably will get a decent amount of rushing yards again too, trying to dip out of the pocket real quick, knowing that it's going to close on him real quick. So Yeah,
Yeah.
don't sleep on Justin Fields for sure, man. But
I could
you
I
know,
could I could also see this
but
game being like really low scoring because like just the Bears try to run it as much as they can with read options and different stuff, and then the Niners trying to run. So I could see it being both teams scoring. I mean, the Bears barely above 10 and the 49ers like just getting to 20. Like I could see it being a
yeah,
2014,
I don't think they had
2010 game.
Montgomery last year either. I'm pretty
Uh
sure.
was
He was
he
injured. He was injured for a lot of the games. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, another thing too, like, we got shell shocked early in that season, just going back to our slow start last year. You get a Verrett that goes down, E-Man went down, Mostert went down. Our team was shell shocked. Like, even in that
Right.
Chicago game, we had quite a few backups, and I'm pretty sure they did too. So, but I feel like this year, if a number one dude did go down in the cornerback room or the running back room, we kind of brick by bricked this thing together to where we're not going to run into those same issues with the depth that we've added for sure.
Right. That's a good point. Good point for sure. I'm just trying to see what I missed in the comments here. Give me a second. I know No Border Sports was in here, so shout out to you. I just can't find your comment anymore. Great stream. Gotta go. Bless you all in your content creation. Thank you so much. Welcome to Detroit, Dan Campbell. And I just found out that this guy's a Dolphins fan. You guys probably saw that in the chat. So
I'm rooting for
you
Mike
guys are,
McDaniel. I'm rooting for him. I mean,
yeah.
former Niner offensive coordinator, offensive assistant. I'm rooting for Mike McDaniel. I think he's gonna do a hell of a job in Miami.
Yeah, for sure. David, no, hold on. Niner Sickness podcast. What's the youngest of the three? What do you mean?
That's
Okay.
me, bro.
Yes, yes,
That's me.
totally.
That's all me.
I think it's Amin because I turned 15 in May.
I'm like a
Yeah, you're
chameleon, man.
older.
I could go from like 12 to 72 like that.
Yes. Quick thoughts on real quick before we I saw Trey Sermon here. Here's No Border Sports. What's up, No Border Sports?
Ryan, what's up?
Final thoughts on the Eagles waiving Trey Sermon. Not a lot here. I would say that the Eagles have problems with getting their running backs injured a lot, even worse than the 49ers. And so Trey Sermon's probably going to see a lot of the field later on in the season, and that will not be good because that could derail their season. Because I hope he succeeds. I don't know, man. Hopefully he does good on that team. I think he's the 4th on the depth chart, so he's pretty down there.
The first thought in my head as you reading that was womp womp womp. That was just hopefully they get it together as far as you're never going to win every draft pick, but hopefully they level up when it comes to drafting running backs that early with needs of the O-line.
Yeah, true. So let's get to, we just have a few more left. So another topic here. Who has more passing yards, TDs, or passing yards and TDs, Fields or Lance in this game? Keltz, you can start first. I think Amin is.
I think we could see Justin Fields,
Yeah.
playing from behind and stacking up some yards. And touchdowns. I really didn't think of that too often, but I could see. You know what? I wouldn't doubt it if it's even on touchdowns, but I think we'll
Yeah.
have more rushing touchdowns, which will, yeah. But I could see them playing from behind and Justin Fields getting more passing yards for sure.
I think completion percentage wise, I think it's going to be Trey. But I feel like passing yards, it's going to be Justin because, like you said, I was going to say the exact same thing. I could see him last minute, last game, last 10 minutes in the fourth quarter, then being down by 14 or 17 or whatever, and him just throwing the ball continuously. So I think percentage-wise, I think it's going to be Trey, but yards, I think it's going to be Justin Fields. And then TDs, I got to go. I mean, overall, rushing TDs, throwing TDs, I'm going to say it's going to be close. That's really hard to predict.
Yeah, I
this far
apologize.
away.
I had to put my laptop to charge real quick.
No, you're good.
My laptop
Totally
is
fine.
dying on me, but who has more passing yards? I think it's very simple. I think it's Justin Fields, because when you look at the Niners offense, the Niners are a run first team. And
Yeah.
especially week 1, I don't really see Kyle Shanahan coming out and being like, all right, Trey, I want you to throw 35 to 40 passes and win this football game for us. Like, no, that's not going to happen. What the Niners are going to do is run the football and try to run the football effectively down the Bears' throats. And that's what they're going to do, and have Trey Lance throw around 20 to 25 passes. Whereas Justin Fields, I mean, even in the preseason, Justin Fields has been throwing a lot more than like, the Bears running the football. They're more of a passing offense than they are running offense. So they're a pass first team. So who has more passing yards? I think Justin Fields. And I think with the Niners, I mean, you don't have to rely on Trey Lance to win you the game. Whereas with the Bears offense, they need a lot out of Justin Fields. They need Justin Fields to, do a lot more than, Trey Lance has to do. And that also equates to him throwing the football more and making more plays with his legs. So when I factor all that in, I would say Justin Fields probably has more passing yards, but who has a better completion percentage? I would say hopefully Trey Lance, because I mean, if Trey Lance is throwing the ball less as we think he is, I think Trey Lance should have a better completion percentage. So I would say passing, I would say Justin Fields, but hopefully I think Trey Lance probably will have a better completion
Yeah.
percentage, considering that he'll throw the football less.
Yeah, and I think early on in the game, before we leave this, I think earlier on in the game, I think you're going to see maybe Trey Lance throwing it, but then I think if they get comfortable, the 49ers, they're just going to run the ball. If they come out 2 really strong drives, they get 10 points on the board, they get a few stops. First quarter, I could very well see this game being done by the first or second quarter. And then us just running it. Or I could see us it going, I mean, them giving us some problems, them, even though they have a pretty bad defense, them being a thorn in our side, and then us just like it coming down to the very last quarter and Trey Lance throwing it. So the whole time. So that's just my opinion. But let's get to over unders though. Over under for for you guys, 41 points combined between both teams. What's your guys' over under? Over or under?
Over. I
Ooh,
think
okay.
definitely over. That's just dependent. I forgot to think about how dominant our defense could be.
That's the
Yeah.
But
thing. That's the
I
thing, Keltz. That's the thing. The
man,
Niners defense. I mean, that's
hey
the
The
man,
thing.
I keep on thinking like, maybe I'm being such a big homer, but when you really just break our team down, man, it's like, you would love to see it before saying it, but I can't help but to look at everything, the writing on the wall and everything on the paper, and I know it's paper. I know it has to be played out, but all the core guys are there, man. It's like the formula is there.
And
The
and week
coaches are
1,
there.
everyone's healthy. Week 1, a lot of the guys are healthy.
Everyone is healthy. We have depth. We've got, man, we
Yeah.
added 6 coaches with Super Bowl rings versus 0 from last year. It's like every aspect of this team, on and
has
off,
gotten
and
better. Yeah.
coaches and every level. It's hard not to think, that we could be dominant. So to answer the question, man, I don't, I still think it could be over. I think we could put up 30 some odd points. And I think, wouldn't be surprised to see them get some, points toward the end to, and some of those yards, trying to play catch up. So I'll say over still.
Yeah.
This is tough. Like, this is honestly, it could be over and under. Like, honestly, I could see a game where like I'm confident that the Niners offense is gonna put up 20 plus points, but that Bears offense,
How's
Niners
the
defense,
weather?
weather also in Chicago,
Should
Yeah.
be
cold,
nice.
morning game, a lot. It's your first week in the regular season. Like, I mean, there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors that you could put into consideration when you're choosing the over and under. I mean, I honestly don't know. I'll go over and under. Like, I could see a situation where both teams score over 41 points combined of 41 points. I definitely think the Niners offense will score more than 20 points. But then, depending on how Niners defense probably will dominate this game on the line of scrimmage, when you look at the wide receiver DB matchups, I mean, this Niners defense is just such a talented defense. Now, I'm not saying that the Bears won't put up points, but I could see a game where it's like 21-24 to like 21-17 or something like that, or 21-14, where the Bears offense doesn't put up 20 points. But I'll go over and under. I know it's not a direct answer, but I could see both situations where, Bears also put up 20 something points, Niners put up 20 something points. It's a close game, but I could also see a game where, the Niners defense makes a stop at the goal line and the Bears settle for a field goal, and it's a 21-17 game or 21-14 game.
Yeah. Good point. I think obviously I'm not a betting man because I can't even bet, but the lines were at 41, and at first, like a lot of people are actually saying bet this under if you're gonna do it, like bet it under, go under. But the more that I think about this, and you look back to last year's Week 1 game, I mean we scored 40 points in that game against the Lions defense, and I mean this defense might be probably better than that Lions defense was. I don't know. But like, I don't know. 41 points in that game. Now, obviously, the Lions scored a lot of points. I'm going to say over as well. I first wanted to say under, but I'm going to say over because I could see us getting 28 points and then 14 or both 20 points.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we
Yeah.
go over. Yeah.
I think it's going to be slightly over. I don't think it's going to be a that high scoring game, but I could definitely see it being over. And I mean, last year when we played the Bears, a lot later in the year, pretty bad weather. Both teams were beat up. It was just a disaster. I remember that game earlier on. I remember that first quarter I was saying, or first half, I believe. I was like, this team is ridiculous. And then we turned it around.
Can we talk about one offensive game? I just want to bring up one offensive game real quick. One of the most entertaining times that I was watching a football game was Chiefs Rams Monday Night Football when they had Jared Goff and both teams it was a back and forth. Both teams are putting up 50 points. I mean, that game offensively was an offensive juggernaut of a game. It was amazing offensively.
Yeah. Joey Bosa, it will not play Wait. So first he said Bosa won't play the Bears Week 1. That's not true.
Oh, he said Joey Bosa.
I think they're missing. The Chargers are missing JC Jackson and Joey Bosa for that game, which is kind of against the Raiders, who are a good team. At first, I would have picked the Chargers, but now I'm leaning more towards the Raiders in that game. So thank you for letting
Here's what I'll say about the Raiders, because I know we got to jump into other topics. So here's what I'll say about the Raiders is that the Raiders are a talented team, and I'm not going to diss Derek Carr because I think Derek Carr is a great quarterback. I don't think he's, top 10 by any means, but I think he's a solid to good quarterback. I think he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think that should even be a debate. I think he's a good quarterback, but is he better than the other quarterbacks in the division? Is he better than Patrick Mahomes? No. Is he better than Russell Wilson? No. Is he better than Justin Herbert? No. So the way that I look at it is when you need your quarterback to step up and make a play, and you need your quarterback to do something and make a play in a late game situation, or you need your quarterback to make a play, who do I have more confidence in, or who do I trust more? I trust all those three guys more than I trust Derek Carr. And that's not a diss on Derek Carr because I think Derek Carr is a better quarterback. But I think all of us can agree that the three quarterbacks that I named are better than Derek Carr. So this Raiders team isn't bad. I just don't know, having the worst quarterback in the division, and he's not a bad quarterback, but he's not better than the other three guys. It's definitely hard. It's definitely harder.
Yeah, I think Chargers will also be coming out with bad blood because of last year. We all know that game. That was exciting. I remember watching that. That was must watch.
That was controversial. That was really controversial. I remember.
I think our pass rush will force Justin Fields to make bad decisions. I predict at least 2 INTs. Wow. Okay. Bears versus 49ers. Who rushes for the first TD? And then I think he said down here, he said, Trey Lance or Justin Fields, who rushes for a TD first? I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say whoever gets the coin tip first. I don't know.
I don't know. Either way.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to the last topic of the day. Williams, Bosa, and Debo. We're talking now. So we're getting off of this game. We've basically broken it all down. Debo, we've all seen the top 100. I believe I can pull it up right here, but Debo was 20. Let's see. Debo was 20. Let's see. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, he was 19th. We have Trent Williams at 14th, and then we have George Kittle at 22. I think that he was ranked pretty properly. And then we have I think Fred Warner. That was
Bosa,
another one.
25.
Yeah. That was another one that kind of oh yeah, Nick Bosa at 20. Wait, what did you say?
25. I'm pretty sure.
25.
Pretty sure.
All right, I'm pulling up the list. I want to see the list of guys who are
Yeah.
ranked higher. So I can't.
Nick Bosa 25. And then the thing that got me was also with the Fred Warner. He was 47th, and you had the thing that got me is Bobby Wagner at 29th. Like, come on.
That's why it's a players list. That's why it's a players list. I'll be honest.
Exactly.
That's why it's a players list. I mean,
It's
Tom
the players
Brady-
that they're going to be biased, and they're kind of, they got their favorite guys,
and not
you
even the
know.
favorite guys. Like certain players be like, "Oh, I looked up to Bobby Wagner. I looked up
When
to
I
this
was younger,
player,
Yeah.
certain-
Yeah.
certain, or like that's just the way it is, right? Like and like I've seen something about Brady, right? It'd be like, I remember when I was 5 years old and I watched Tom Brady. With Tom Brady won my first Super Bowl when I was 5 years old, or Tom Brady did this, or it's like some of these lists. Sometimes they're their favorite guy. Sometimes it's a teammate. Sometimes it's
And
I
a
grew
lot
up
of
watching this
times,
player.
if you're not in California, California gets a lot of hate.
Right.
It's like majority of people who aren't in California are hating on California. Man, there's a lot of people in California hating on California. It's, all based on money majority of the time. Like, it has something to do with whether it's taxes, money, expensive living, so there's a lot of weird little hates when it comes to the West Coast for sure.
Yeah,
It
I
is
have the list.
best coast, but
Yeah, West Coast is the best coast. You know, Keltz. You know what you're talking about.
I'm knowing,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
man. Real
yeah,
talk.
yeah.
I
I
But
know
mean,
what's up.
I have the
I
list
see
pulled
you,
up.
Beto. You better go to sleep, Beto.
I think honestly, I would say okay. I don't like. I think Micah Parsons was ahead of Nick Bosa. I kind of agree with that. I think he had a really good rookie season, but the thing that I didn't get was Myles Garrett at 11 ahead, that much ahead of Nick Bosa. Why?
It's a players list. That's why because the
Because
players.
Myles Garrett, like he's
Yeah,
not that much better than
if you
Nick
look at the
Bosa.
statistics wise, Miles Garrett and Nick Bosa had a similar statistical season, so it's not really that much of a difference. It's just Miles Garrett's probably more popular with the players or whatever it might be. Here's what I'll say: with Nick Bosa, the one thing I didn't like was him 2 spots below Trevon Diggs.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, that
sorry,
was
like,
another thing. That's the one that
I'm
got me the
sorry,
most pissed off.
right? And Trevon Diggs to have 11 interceptions,
yeah.
that's difficult. That's really difficult.
But he didn't put an impact.
But he
in
allowed
any,
like
yeah.
900 yards this year. I'm sorry. No, I'm not saying Trevon Diggs is a bad corner, but in order for Trevon Diggs to sustain being in the top 100 or being like being the player that he was this year, if he's going to give up 900 yards every year, he's going to have to get like 8 to 10 interceptions every single season, which is really difficult to do.
Who was that? Juwan Jennings that lit him up in the playoffs?
Ayuk or Jennings?
No, it was Ayuk.
Yeah.
I remember one route was like he went in and then he faked in and then went back out and completely, and then Jimmy Garoppolo overthrew him.
Oh, no, I'm talking about on the block. Like there was a block coming across the middle or something, and
well, I think it was Jennings.
yeah, Jennings laid it down on him. Yeah, I made some little post up or some quick little.
Another thing, Trent Williams. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good, bro.
Trent Williams below Travis Kelce. I don't know. And Myles Garrett was above Trent Williams.
Right? I mean, here's what I'll say. I think Trent Williams plays at a really high level, but I think Travis Kelce's just been in the top. Like he's been that. Yeah. He's been like arguably the best tight end. Trent Williams, right? I think the reason why Trent Williams is a little bit lower, even though it's a players list, is that I'll be honest, right? Like, and I think a lot of us can agree on this, that people don't look at offensive line or a lot of teams don't have a Trent Williams that they're like, oh, we have this great offensive lineman. We watch him and he's amazing every single week, right? And in general, like if you look at Kansas City, they have Orlando Brown, and certain teams have one or two good offensive linemen. But when you're watching a football game, you're not like, oh, let me scout the offensive lineman the whole time. No, Or even like let's look at the Chiefs, right? When you're watching the Chiefs, you're not like, oh, let me see what Orlando Brown is doing, Orlando Brown Jr. is doing, or let me see,
Hey, I
let me
really do
see,
that kind of stuff though. Sometimes
Yeah.
I really do,
or like
bro.
let me see what Joe. Or okay, outside of Keltz, but a lot of
Yeah.
people, when watching that like football games in general, they're not focused on the offensive line. They're like, oh, let me see what Tyreek did this week, or let me see what Travis Kelce did this week. So even though it's a players list, even players, if I was a player in the NFL, would I rather watch Trent Williams, unless I was an offensive lineman and I care, like I was like, oh, I want to see him do his thing and body and bully defensive linemen. But if I'm a player, I want to see what Travis Kelce did that week, or I want to see what Tyreek Hill did that week. I want to see what the skill position players did that week. It's just more exciting.
Yeah.
It's more exciting when a guy catches like an 20-yard pass and then takes it to the house, or scores a touchdown, or it's just more exciting. So I think Trent Williams plays at a really high level, but why Trent Williams is a little bit lower is because he's an offensive lineman. It's just not an exciting position.
I'm not a fan of Tom Brady, so I think the number 1 position was a little high for him, but that's just my opinion. Go ahead, Keltz.
It's
You had
kind of
something to
funny how
say.
it's like something where these guys look at it real serious, like it's super, important to get recognized by your peers. And then the flip side of it is kind of like, yeah, it's a nice little fun list.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
kind of like, but hey, some of those guys are, obviously they take it to heart, so it's kind of, it's one of those nice little fun little things they do.
Yeah,
Here's what I will say. Like, one thing that I don't personally like as much as other people is that I feel like sometimes with the top 100, when I look at certain players, I'm like, all right, those guys are there because of what they did in 2022. And then when I look at certain other players, I'm like, these guys have been dominating for a long time. But was Bobby Wagner better than Fred Warner this
No,
season?
I don't think he was.
Yeah, no.
No, right? But then
One of
why is
them
he
could
ranked?
dance better or something.
Yeah, like why is he ranked that much higher than Fred Warner when that's the thing, right? Like Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams. Cooper Kupp was number 4, Devontae Adams was number 7. You understand that because okay, Cooper Kupp had a phenomenal year and he was great. But could you say that, like, let's say Debo and Tyreek? I think Debo had a better year than Tyreek, and I'm not saying Tyreek didn't have a bad. He had a great year as well. But if you're just talking about 2022, Debo had a better year than Tyreek Hill. And he did it,
Yeah.
and he literally was the whole entire Niners offense for parts during the season. So, like, certain, like, I'm
49ers
like,
always,
ooh,
49ers
I
always,
just dropped my phone. But like certain players,
49ers always get some kind of hate, whether it's players, the national media. You do a little bit of research, and a lot of these ESPN people are from the East Coast. And there are some from Cali and stuff like that, but a lot of them are from the
yeah,
East, man. Whether it's stationed in LA or not, you got a lot of these people who are just have a lot of East Coast bias, man. It's just, and
yeah,
then, like I said, a lot of times if you're not from Cali, a lot of times you're going to be hating on it. I feel like even if we win a Super Bowl, there's still going to be some form of, it just feels like it's always been that way when it comes to the 49ers. As far as like my biggest thing of what kind of was frustrating was seeing, like, I think I made a little post too about Mac Jones getting in, but then, like, you see someone like Nick Bosa not even get 1 vote for comeback player of the year. It's like,
Yeah, it's
like,
true.
what are we doing here? Like, does this man gotta really break the record to get, like, recognized or, win a Super Bowl on top
I
of it?
think
Just
I think he
but
should have gone in a vote, but I don't think he should have won over Joe Burrow. I'll be
No,
honest, right?
I
Because
think
I
Joe
think
Burrow had
Joe Burrow
that.
he
did.
should have at least had
Yeah,
recognition, like, at least been in the
he should. I agree.
conversation
I
for
100%
sure.
agree. Yeah, he should
Yeah,
be in the conversation, but I
real
think they
talk.
gave it to the right guy considering with
Yeah.
that horrible offensive line for you to literally Joe Burrow carried that team to the Super Bowl,
And that
right?
was his
And
what,
I'm not
2nd or
saying
3rd? Was that his 2nd or 3rd
second
year?
year, right?
So
And he had great
yeah.
Second,
weapons,
yeah.
right? So I'm not gonna sit up here and say it's all Joe Burrow because he had a lot of talent with the weapons and that defense wasn't bad and they kind of stepped it up. There are certain guys on the defense like Trey Hendrickson and certain people, but Joe Burrow had to do a lot. He had to make great decisions, had to get the ball out quickly. He had to do a lot in order to take that team to the Super Bowl. Because I'll
And
be
in
honest,
year 2.
in
And
year two,
and
I'll
and in year 2, like
yeah,
like, hey,
yeah,
man,
exactly. And
that's
I'll be
special,
honest,
special.
Yeah, I'll sit up here. I'll be like, I didn't even think the Bengals were gonna win more than 5 games. I thought the Bengals were gonna be last in their division.
And what a
Stri-
great game too. What a great
yeah,
game we had versus them, with Ayuk at the end and Jimmy made some plays and stuff, but that was a great game, man. That was, looking back on it, that was a good that was it feels like we played a few Super Bowl games last year versus the Rams and, you know, Bengals and
Yeah,
it was special for us down the stretch, man. I feel like, it's gonna be equally or hopefully better than last year
better.
for sure. But yeah, props to Joe Burrows. NFL, get it right with Nick Bosa.
Yeah. I don't know.
at
I think
least
in some games, like against triple teams, this is why I think Trayvon Diggs, like you said, like Nick Bosa, way bigger impact. And also in the playoffs, especially, way bigger impact. Triple teams, still getting it done. Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Amin.
I mean, I'll say this about Nick Bosa. Just for him being a defensive end, I think obviously he'll have a bigger impact because it's just a position. Whereas
Yeah.
like we've seen it with the Niners, like okay, you don't have a corner, you'll find as it's obviously easier when you have a good corner. But when you don't have like a guy like Bosa who's that impactful, like same thing with like a lot of teams. Like if you take out Trevon Diggs out of the Cowboys and you take out Nick Bosa off the Niners defense, it would be night and day. Same thing with like the Cleveland Browns. If you take Denzel Ward off the Cleveland Browns and for a game, and you take Myles Garrett off the Cleveland Browns for a game, it's night and day. But here's what I will say: Nick Bosa, the man gets held on so many plays, and the refs don't. Literally, it'll be like the defensive lineman, like the offensive lineman is grabbing him like this, and Bosa's like trying to get through, and no call, no call,
Yeah.
no call. It happens every year. Every year Bosa's been healthy, he gets held, right? And there's only so much you can do when you're getting held on a lot of plays. But literally, he gets no calls.
Yeah.
This man is gonna, you know, he's on a mission. Like, hey, like Kyle Shanahan said, he's never had an off season. He's never had a full training camp and off season, and this man, is in just freaking. He's ridiculous, man.
You
That
knew
man is
Bosa was gonna be good coming in, like that,
uh,
you knew. I feel like a lot. I knew Bosa was gonna be coming in, right? Because Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa's brother, dominant at OSU. Like you knew Nick Bosa coming in was gonna have an impact on this team. Now you could
Yeah.
argue that you didn't know. You could argue that you didn't know if he would have as big of an impact as he did, because when he came in, I mean, he elevated the Niners defensive line as a rookie. Eric
yep.
Armstead had his best season. DeForest Buckner had a pretty good year. Like I mean, he elevated that whole Niners defensive line as a rookie, and we knew what happened when he wasn't there. Now there was some other injuries, but Nick Bosa, I mean, that man is a monster. Was the safest pick for at number 2 with the Niners.
Bro.
Niners made a great decision. I mean, Nick Bosa, he's a dog. He's a dog.
Yeah.
You're giving me flashbacks of when he did the flag plant versus Baker
Oh,
Mayfield.
Yeah.
You're giving me flashbacks of the
yeah,
Redskins game when they all doing the slipping. Man, just what a
yeah.
fun freaking season.
Yeah, it
I
was.
think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see him and Trent. I think we're gonna see multiple players like rise to levels that we haven't seen. I think when, like I was talking about Kyle Shanahan possibly just having one of his best years ever as, a offensive play caller. And I think it's going to trickle down. It's going to typically, like, the offense has to lightweight be picked up a little bit by the defense, but I think, man, each part of our team is going to be holding their own weight plus some. So it could be,
Mm.
man, it's going to be beautiful, man.
Yeah. Lightning round here. I mean, again, real quick response to that 2019 team. That was like that. They sounded excited in that year to play together, and it was just like the joy. Yeah, it was fun to see, and so hopefully we see that again this year. I think we
That
will.
was my happiest year as a Niners fan, and also my saddest year as a Niners fan. Also,
Yeah.
it was. I mean, I literally that was like one time where I cried myself to sleep. Like
After
I like literally at the end, I literally cried myself to sleep. I didn't want to go to school that morning. I got ambushed by a bunch of Seahawks fans. Literally, like the third grade Seahawks fans came all the way to my classroom just to come and bother me and be like, haha, you guys lost. You guys lost. Literally, it was it like I cried myself to sleep. And then the morning I wake up, it's too early already, and I'm already depressed. And then like a bunch of Seahawks fans and Raiders fans are like, you guys lost.
Yeah. After that game, I remember just going in my room and talking to my brother for 2 hours and screaming a bunch of F words and everything else and just like screaming for probably 40 minutes. It was
Oh,
I
that was
think
rough.
I think my
I lost
son,
my
man,
voice.
I can't remember what my son was saying about Garoppolo, but I know he hasn't let it go. That's why he did his little rant the other day. But he
I
was
haven't listened to
he was so mad for at least a week, and I just remember the only words I do remember him saying is, "I'm done. I'm done." Just I'm freaking whatever he was saying, all kind of stuff, but just I'm done.
listen,
Like
Keltz.
just
I'm with your son. I said the same exact thing. Fourth
done.
quarter,
My
Like
God.
literally, I remember this I remember this vividly. Jimmy Garoppolo misses that deep throw, Emmanuel Sanders. I take off my Jimmy Garoppolo jersey, which I was repping the whole entire season and the whole entire game. I take it off, throw it on the floor, and start throwing it. I'm like, I'm done. I
yep,
literally,
my son
I'm
hasn't.
done. I can't. I'm done.
My son got a black Jimmy Garoppolo. He ain't wore it since. Like just done. Like
I'm done. I only wore it one time after that, but I swore I would never wear it ever again. I mean, I was done after that. I was like, I was literally exactly similar to yourself. I was like, I can't do this no more. I can't. I'm not like. You
yep,
broke
the
my
best
heart, Jimmy.
season. It was the best season
Yeah.
as a fan, and and then especially because he remembered the 2012. Like
Yeah, I do
he
too.
doesn't remember it too well, but he was saying the same thing in 2012.
I don't
Just
know if
he
it was you. I don't know if it was
ran it.
you who tweeted out. There was some tweet that I saw, like someone saying, like, "Oh, us younger Niners fans experience like a lot of the sad, like good playoff runs and then like the losses." I don't know. Someone tweeted it out where it's like,
Yeah, it wasn't me, but
no, it was Ryan. I think it was Ryan G. Hensley. I think he said something about like, "Thank God for the Warriors because the Niners, like, I mean, young Niners fans, like as compared
heartbreak.
to older ones, like I mean, older ones, you probably witnessed the Super Bowl. You probably saw the Steve Young Super Bowl. So like older Niners fans have experienced it before. They're like, yes, you've experienced winning, and like as a young Niners fan, same thing with Ben. Like all we've experienced, we've had good moments, but we haven't won number 6. And
Yeah.
all we've seen is 2. And I'll go even the NFC Championship game, Seattle game,
That was crazy.
Giants game, special teams, Giants game where we screwed up on special teams. I mean, as a Niners fans in this like era or this decade, when the Niners had the Harbaugh, Chip Kelly, I mean, there's been good moments and like the bad moments lasted a long time. And I mean, I'll never forget 2019.
Yeah, I was only 8 years old, the last Super Bowl, but it's like I remember it. I still, regardless of because, hey man, I've been paying attention since my first memories. Like once I fell in love with football, I'll say 5 years old. Like it's like I was glued. That was it. It was done. I wanted the Niner football, the shoes, the jacket. I was gonna be Jerry Rice. It's like no joke. Like I was watching everything, reading everything, drawing up my own stuff. So it's like I remember even being 8 years old, man. Um, and it feels like we should have like 10 Super Bowls, man. It just feels like it's just
Exactly.
exactly even the Roger Craig fumble. I was too young, but it feels like the one thing that's frustrating to me, I know it's a new era, I know it's a new day, but the one thing that's frustrating is you go 5-0 in Super Bowls, and then it just feels like the legacy has been kind of watered down just a little bit. But it's like, I feel like we're getting it on track. I'm glad Jed York did what he did by giving John Lynch and Shanahan long extensions, not just, oh, 1 or 2 bad years, you guys are gone, let's do it again. I want to see that foundation stay solid. And, they've made plenty of mistakes. No one's perfect. But if you really look at 5 years ago compared to now, they have brick by brick this thing. They've pieced it
Oh, for
together.
sure.
And it feels and looks like we really could have sustained success, just moving forward with how it's all built. So
Yeah,
I
for sure.
hope for all of us, but especially y'all, that y'all get to witness just especially your
not.
guys' ages. There's
Yeah,
probably no better ages than your guys' ages to witness freaking greatness like the
Yeah.
Warriors,
I'm not a Warriors fan. Me and Ben are both Lakers fans, so I've experienced a
Yeah.
double championship, yes sir. But I've never experienced one with the Warriors. I mean, I've never experienced with the Niners. I've experienced them with the Warriors, and even when the Warriors win a championship, what even sucks more about it is like my whole family's a Warriors fans, so they'll be like, "Do you want to switch over? Join the winning team? Do you want
I
to join the
was
light side?" And I'm like, "No, I really don't. Like, no, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at." It's like, come on. Why are you rooting for why are you rooting for Queen James and and they'll start talking. I'm like, come on, like we've had a
yeah.
depressing season as a Lakers fan this year. Why
And then
rub
you
it
gotta
in?
hit him. Then you gotta hit him with the 18 championships or
Yeah.
I
whatever it
know
is
that's what
they
I did.
got.
I
I
was like
mean,
17.
Okay, yeah.
I started liking the Lakers like 7 years ago when Kobe was still in the league. So to see that, yeah, yeah.
I was a huge Kobe fan, man. I was trying to, when it was before Steph Curry, when it was Kobe, I was trying to mimic all his moves.
Yeah, the
Man.
turnaround.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, man. That one. That was probably one of the toughest ones to ever witness. Being a sports fan. Prayers to his family for sure.
Yep. Lauren Keltz chicken plates. I don't know. But what's up?
She's telling me it's dinner time. She's telling
Yeah,
me, yeah.
yeah.
We
I
gotta
remember
wrap
when
this one up.
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember when the 49ers bad before Joe Montana. 49ers, thank God, stopped that Cowboys from being a team in the 1980s. Um does Rich and Amin live in San Francisco? Amin does. Rich lives in the East Coast.
I don't live in San Francisco, but I live in the Bay. That's all I'll say.
Bay.
That's all I'll say. I
The
live in the
Bay.
Bay. The
Nah,
Bay.
man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you can check it out if you want, man. I say it. I'm from Vallejo, California, 707 up here in Solano County. It's a part of the Bay for sure. We got a waterfront, and it's a little bit north. It's a little northeast, and it's probably, man, one of the most beautiful parts of the Bay. The weather, bro, like no wind. It's never like cold. It's never really hot. It's
It's
just
never too hot. Yeah.
Vallejo gets a little bit of a bad rap being, kind of a tough town, and you better watch your back in those things. But it is a dope town, bro. Like I'll just say that, that you could go anywhere and have your bad parts, but when you really, when you've been here long enough, there's love and hate. But hey, man, it's if you're not in the depths of the streets, it's pretty dope out here.
Yeah. Before we get going, because
What's
it's
good?
yeah.
Jay in the Bay. What's
Jay in the
good?
Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So great to see you there. Everyone, this has been a lot of fun. And then Raymondo Clark, I've actually never seen you in the chat before, so shout out to you. But yeah, this has been our stream. Guys, thank you for taking time out of your evenings to come and talk 49ers football with me for
Always a pleasure, man.
almost an
Always a
hour and
pleasure.
45 minutes. So,
Always a pleasure. And I want to
yeah.
answer Grandizer's question real quick. No, I
Yeah.
do not do Sharks content. I'm not really too big into hockey, but I do watch the Sharks. I do watch the Sharks. I am a Sharks fan, so yes, go Sharks. I'm looking forward to the new regime with David Quinn. I think that's the name. Yeah, David Quinn and Mike Greer, who's Chris Greer's brother, who's the GM of the Dolphins. So I'm looking forward to this new regime. But I am a Sharks fan, but do not do Sharks content.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
Sharks.
real quick. What's up, Ray? I know who it is. That's my man, Ray.
This guy?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
Salute
was
to
looking
you.
at the chat and was like, okay, I know who it is. Yep, that's what's up, man. Good
Yeah.
stuff for coming through, bro. Hope all is
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, for sure. What was I gonna say to Amin? You said where I'm from, we just won a championship in hockey. I don't really like I watch hockey once in a while. I love it, but I don't really cover it that much. But yeah, we just won a championship. So Denver's still going. This whole area is still going crazy, the hockey world. So yeah, everyone, this has been a very fun night. Go subscribe to Amin at Amin the Dream. You can find me at Camper One Report on Twitter. And then Amin the Dream is just his handles right there. And then YouTube is Amin the Dream. And then Rich Keltz, if you're coming in from my channel, go subscribe to him. Really cool guy. If you haven't already. So everyone, this has been a very fun night, and thanks for joining us. And have a
for
good
the
rest of
invite.
your
Thanks for the
evening.
invite. Go
Yeah.
Niners. Football's back in a week. Excited, but appreciate the invite.
Real quick
Yes,
though, so I
sir.
won't be back this Wednesday, everyone. So I'll probably be back Sunday for a pregame or postgame show. So see you guys. We'll see you later, man. Have
Peace.
a good rest of your night.